11:47 p.m. The snow was falling when Derek Hale found her beneath the cold glow of parking lot lights that turned everything ghostly. She lay crumpled against the concrete, blood spreading slow and dark through the white around her. Her face was destroyed, swollen beyond recognition, split open, more wound than woman. When his boots crunched closer, her eyes snapped open, wild, terrified. "Please!" She choked through broken teeth, voice barely a whisper. "Please don't hurt me. I can't walk." She thought he was one of them, coming back to finish it. The men who'd beaten her and left her to die in the freezing night. What she didn't know, this single father was about to shatter every safe choice he'd ever made, because the monsters hunting her were already circling his home, and they had one demand: her life or his daughter's. What Derek did next would set everything on fire. The wind cut through Derek's security jacket like paper. He had been walking the perimeter of Riverside Shopping Complex for 4 hours, watching his breath fog in the freezing air, counting minutes until midnight when his shift would end. 15 years ago, he would have been leading Marines through Fallujah instead of making sure teenagers did not break into closed storefronts. The fall had been steep, but he had stopped measuring it years ago. His radio crackled with static, then went silent. The complex had closed at 9, and everyone had gone home, the last stragglers clearing out by 9:30. The parking lot stretched empty and white with tire tracks already buried under fresh powder. Derek pulled his jacket tighter and kept walking, his boots leaving dark prints in the snow. That was when he heard it. A moan, low and broken, coming from the service alley between the complex and the warehouse next door. Derek stopped. His hand moved instinctively to his hip, but there was no weapon there anymore, just a flashlight and a radio that barely worked. He turned toward the alley with snow crunching under each step. The streetlight did not reach here, just shadows and darkness. Derek clicked on his flashlight. The beam swept across dumpsters and cardboard boxes and a tipped shopping cart. Then it found her. She was lying against the brick wall, half buried in snow. At first, Derek thought she was dead. No one could lose that much blood and still breathe. It pooled around her in a spreading circle, black under his flashlight, soaking into the snow and turning it rust red at the edges. Her clothes were torn, her jacket ripped open, one leg bent at an angle that made his stomach turn. But it was her face that stopped him cold, swollen and split and barely human. Her left eye sealed shut, skin around it purple and grotesque. Her nose sat crooked, clearly broken. Blood crusted her lips and chin. When Derek's light hit her, she flinched, a tiny animal movement. Then her one good eye opened, and the terror in it felt like a punch. "Please," she whispered. The word came out wet and choked. "Please don't hurt me." Her hand trembled, trying to push herself away, even though she could not move. "I can't walk. Please. I won't tell anyone. I promise, just don't." "Ma'am." Derek dropped to one knee with hands up, flashlight pointed away from her face. "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm security. My name is Derek. I'm here to help." She stared at him. Her breathing was shallow and rapid, each exhale a small cloud in the frozen air. She was going into shock. Derek had seen it enough times in the field to recognize the signs. The glassy look, the shaking, the way her lips were turning blue. "I'm going to call 911, Derek said, reaching for his radio. "You need an ambulance." "No!" The word came sharp and desperate. She tried to sit up and screamed, a sound of pure agony echoing off the alley walls. Her hand shot out and grabbed Derek's wrist with surprising strength. "No police, no hospital. They'll find me. They'll kill me." Derek froze. Her fingers dug into his arm, nails biting through his jacket. "Who will find you?" "Vincent Kane." She was crying now, tears cutting tracks through the blood on her face. "I saw him. I saw what he did. They chased me. They did this." She gestured weakly at herself, at the ruin of her body. "They think I'm dead. If you call the cops, he'll know I'm alive. He has people everywhere. Please, please, I just want to live." Derek knew the name. Everyone in Riverside knew Vincent Kane. Gang leader, drug dealer, suspected of murders the police could never prove. Untouchable. The kind of man who made problems disappear. "What did you see?" Derek asked quietly. "Murder." The word fell between them like a stone. "He shot someone. A cop. Undercover, I think. I was walking home from work. I saw everything." Her voice broke. "They chased me, caught me, beat me, left me here to freeze." She looked up at Derek with her one good eye. "You have to leave me. If they find out you helped me, they'll come after you too." Derek looked at her, really looked. She was maybe 25 or 26. Someone's daughter. Under the blood and swelling, he could see she had been pretty once. Now she was broken and terrified, begging a stranger to abandon her because she thought it might save his life. For 3 years, Derek had been sleepwalking. Ever since the night Jennifer died in that accident, the drunk driver, the phone call that shattered his world into before and after, he had been going through motions. Wake up, get Chloe to school, work, sleep, repeat. Never really present, never really alive, just existing in the hollow space grief had carved out. But kneeling in this alley, looking at this broken woman, Derek felt something shift. A choice crystallizing in the frozen air between them. He thought of Jennifer. The last conversation they had, bitter and angry, words neither meant but both said. She had stormed out and he had let her go. Then she was gone forever. No second chances, no taking it back. This woman had one chance. Right now. Him. "What's your name?" Derek asked. She blinked, surprised. "Rachel. Rachel Winters." "Rachel, I'm going to help you, but we can't stay here. Can you move at all?" "My leg." Fresh tears spilled. "I think it's broken. I can't stand. I tried, but I can't." "Okay." Derek shifted position and assessed the damage. Her left leg was definitely broken, probably in 2 places from the look of it. Ribs too, maybe, the way she was breathing short and shallow, trying not to move her chest. Internal bleeding was possible. She needed a hospital. But if Vincent Kane really had people in the police, then bringing her in was a death sentence. Derek made his decision. "I'm going to pick you up," he said. "It's going to hurt. I'm sorry." "Where are you taking me?" "My house. I have medical supplies. I was a Marine and I know enough to keep you stable. Then we figure out the rest." "You have a family?" Rachel's eye went wide. No, I can't put them in danger. I have a daughter. She's 9. She's home asleep." Derek met Rachel's gaze. "And I'm not leaving you here to die. So we can argue or we can move before whoever did this comes back to check if you're dead yet." Rachel stared at him for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. Derek slid one arm under her knees, the other behind her back. "On 3. 1, 2. He lifted. Rachel screamed, the sound muffled as she bit her own hand to keep quiet. Her broken leg dangled, and Derek felt her body go rigid with pain. She passed out before he made it 3 steps. Maybe that was better. Derek carried her through snow to his truck parked at the far end of the lot. He laid her as gently as he could across the back seat and stripped off his jacket to cover her. She was so cold. Hypothermia was probably setting in. He cranked the heat as high as it would go and pulled out of the parking lot, tires sliding slightly on fresh snow. 11:58 p.m. His shift was not over. He should radio in, explain he was leaving early. But what would he say? Found a half-dead woman? Taking her home? Derek turned off his radio and drove. The streets were empty. Riverside rolled up its sidewalks early on winter weeknights. Just street lights reflecting off snow, occasional porch lights glowing warm behind frosted windows. Normal people living normal lives, safe in their normal houses, with no idea that monsters walked around in human skin. Derek's house was a small 2-bedroom on the edge of town. Nothing special, just a place to sleep and feed Chloe breakfast and pretend they were okay. He pulled into the driveway and killed the engine. Through the front window he could see the living room lamp he always left on. Chloe would be upstairs in her room asleep, her nightlight glowing. What the hell was he doing? Bringing a target into his home, into Chloe's home where she slept and felt safe? This woman said Vincent Kane wanted her dead. Men like Kane did not give up. They did not stop until the job was done. But Derek thought of Jennifer again. The regret that lived in his chest like a second heart, always beating, always aching. I could have stopped her. I could have gone after her. I could have done something. Not this time. Derek carried Rachel inside, moving as quietly as he could. The house was warm and silent except for the hum of the heater. He laid Rachel on the couch in the living room and went to get his medical kit from the hall closet. It was military grade, left over from his Marine days. He had kept it out of habit, never thinking he would use it again. He knelt beside the couch and started assessing Rachel's injuries properly. The leg was bad, a compound fracture probably. He could see bone pressing against skin. Her ribs were definitely broken, at least 2 on the left side. Her face was a mess of contusions and lacerations, nose broken, possible skull fracture. If he was in the field, he would be calling for a medevac and praying it arrived in time. But he was not in the field. He was in his living room, and the only backup he had was whatever he could remember from combat medicine training 15 years ago. Derek cleaned the wounds as best he could, using antiseptic and gauze from the kit. He splinted Rachel's leg with a board and medical tape, trying to immobilize it. She woke halfway through and screamed again, thrashing weakly. Derek had to hold her down. Rachel, look at me. It's Derek. You're safe. I'm helping you. I need you to stay still. She focused on him, tears streaming. It hurts. God, it hurts so much. I know. I'm almost done. He was not. He had at least another hour of work, but she did not need to know that. By the time Derek finished, it was 1:30 in the morning. Rachel had passed out again, which was probably a mercy. Her breathing was more stable, but she needed real medical care soon. Derek covered her with blankets and stood, his back aching, his hands shaking from adrenaline crash. That was when he heard the creak of a floorboard behind him. Derek spun around. Chloe stood at the bottom of the stairs in her pink pajamas, brown hair messy from sleep, eyes wide and fixed on the woman bleeding on their couch. Daddy? Her voice was small and scared. What's happening? Who is she? Derek's heart dropped. He moved quickly, positioning himself between Chloe and Rachel. Sweetheart, go back to bed. Everything's fine. She's bleeding. Chloe's voice rose, panic creeping in. Daddy, there's so much blood. We need to call 911. Chloe. Derek knelt down and took his daughter's shoulders gently. Look at me. Look at Daddy. She did, her eyes filling with tears. That lady is hurt. Bad people hurt her. If we call the police, the bad people will find her and hurt her more. Do you understand? Like the people who hurt Mommy. The question came out in a whisper. Derek felt something crack in his chest. Chloe had been 6 when Jennifer died. Old enough to understand that Mommy was not coming back. Old enough to understand someone else had caused it, a drunk driver who walked away with minor injuries while Jennifer bled out. Chloe had nightmares for months. Sometimes she still did. Yes, Derek said quietly. Like them. I couldn't save Mommy. But I can save her. He gestured to Rachel. Will you trust me? Chloe looked past him at Rachel's broken form on the couch, then back at Derek. Slowly she nodded. Okay, Daddy. I trust you. Good girl. Derek pulled her into a hug and held tight. Go back upstairs. Try to sleep. I'll handle this. Chloe pulled back and wiped her eyes. Is she going to die? Not if I can help it. Chloe nodded again and turned to go back upstairs. She paused on the third step and looked back. Daddy, you're a good person. Mummy always said so. Then she was gone, padding back to her room. Derek heard her door close softly. He stood there surrounded by bloodied gauze and medical supplies, with a dying woman on his couch and his 9-year-old daughter upstairs trying to process what she had just seen. This was insane. He should call the police. He should call an ambulance. He should do the sensible, legal, safe thing. But when had Derek ever been good at safe? His phone buzzed in his pocket. Unknown number. Derek stared at it for a moment, then answered. Hello? Derek Hale. The voice was smooth and cold and utterly calm. Night security guard at Riverside Shopping Complex. Father of Chloe, age 9. Lives at 703 Maple Street. Drives a 2012 Ford pickup. Derek's blood turned to ice. Who is this? You know who this is? A pause. You have something that belongs to me. A witness. Rachel Winters. I need her back. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't insult me. The voice hardened, lost its false pleasantness. We followed the blood trail from the alley. We know you took her. We know she's in your house right now. Another pause, heavier. You made a mistake, Mr. Hale. A fatal one. But I'm reasonable. Bring me Rachel and I'll let you and your daughter live. You have until dawn to decide. That's 6 hours. Use them wisely. The line went dead. Derek stood frozen, phone still pressed to his ear. They knew. Vincent Kane knew where he lived. Knew about Chloe. 6 hours until dawn. 6 hours to decide if he was going to hand over a dying woman to be murdered or fight to protect a stranger and risk his daughter's life. He looked at Rachel unconscious on his couch, then at the stairs where Chloe had disappeared, then at the front door where somewhere in the darkness outside monsters were watching and waiting. Derek Hale had been sleepwalking for 3 years, but he was awake now, and he was done running from hard choices. He had 6 hours to figure out how to save them all. Derek moved fast. First priority was getting Chloe somewhere safe. He took the stairs 2 at a time and pushed open her bedroom door. She was sitting on her bed with knees pulled to chest, her stuffed rabbit clutched in her arms. She looked up when he entered, and Derek saw Jennifer in her face, the same stubborn chin, the same way she pressed her lips together when scared, but trying to be brave. Pack a bag, Derek said, keeping his voice calm. Just essentials. Clothes for 2 days, toothbrush, your rabbit. Chloe did not move. We're leaving? You are. I'm sending you somewhere safe. What about you? Her voice cracked. What about her? Derek crossed to her bed and sat beside her. He wanted to lie, to tell her everything would be fine, that this was just precaution. But Chloe was 9, not stupid. She deserved truth, or at least as much as she could handle. The people who hurt that woman, they know she's here. They're going to come for her, and I can't let them take her, which means I need you somewhere they can't find you, somewhere safe. You're going to fight them. It was not a question. If I have to. Chloe's eyes filled with tears. What if they hurt you? What if you die like Mommy did? Derek pulled her close and felt her small body shake against his chest. I'm not going to die, baby. I promise. You can't promise that. Her voice was muffled against his shirt. Mommy promised she'd come back too. The words hit like a knife between his ribs. Because she was right. Jennifer had kissed Chloe goodbye that night and promised she would be back in an hour, that they would finish watching their movie. And then she was gone. Promises meant nothing against drunk drivers and bad luck and the cold randomness of the universe. But Derek had to try anyway. You're right, he said quietly. I can't promise nothing bad will happen. But I can promise I'll fight like hell to come back to you. Because you're the most important thing in my life. More important than anything. Do you believe that? Chloe nodded against his chest. Then trust me. Pack your bag. I'm sending you to a motel in the mountains. The one we stayed at last summer, remember? The nice lady who gave you extra cookies? Chloe pulled back and wiped her eyes. Mrs. Patterson? That's right. I'm calling her now and she'll take care of you until I come get you. 2 days maximum. Okay? Okay. Chloe's voice was small, but she started pulling clothes from her dresser. Derek left her packing and went downstairs to make the call. The Mountain View Inn was 2 hours north, a small family-run place where Derek had taken Chloe last summer when he needed to get out of Riverside. The owner, Patricia Patterson, was a grandmother in her 60s who ran the place with her husband. Good people. Safe people, Patricia answered on the 4th ring, voice thick with sleep. Mountain View Inn, Patricia speaking. Mrs. Patterson, this is Derek Hale. We stayed with you last summer, my daughter Chloe and I. Oh yes, I remember you two. Is everything all right, Mr. Hale? It's quite late. I have an emergency. I need to bring Chloe to you tonight, right now. And I need her to stay for a day or two while I handle some things. I'll pay whatever you need. There was a pause. Then Patricia's voice came back, sharper, concerned. Is Chloe in danger? Not if she's with you. Another pause. Bring her. I'll have a room ready and warm. And Mr. Hale, whatever trouble you're in, be careful. Thank you. Derek hung up and checked on Rachel. Still unconscious but stable. He grabbed his gun safe from the bedroom closet and spun the combination. The Glock 19 sat inside, black and cold and familiar. Derek picked it up and checked the magazine. Fully loaded. 15 rounds. Not enough if Kane sent an army, but better than nothing. He grabbed 2 extra magazines and shoved them in his pocket. Chloe came downstairs with her backpack, holding her rabbit tight. She looked so small. Derek wanted to wrap her in bubble wrap and hide her somewhere the world could never touch her. Instead, he took her hand and led her out to the truck. They drove north in silence through empty streets and onto the highway heading into mountains. Snow had started falling again, fat flakes drifting through headlight beams. Chloe stared out the window, her reflection ghostly in the glass. Daddy? She said finally. Are you scared? Derek considered lying, then decided against it. Yeah, baby, I'm scared. But you're doing it anyway? Yeah. Why? Derek drove faster than he should have on the icy roads, but he made it back without incident. He pulled into his driveway and cut the engine. The house looked the same as when he left it. No broken windows, no kicked-in doors. Either Kane's people were waiting for the deadline, or they were being patient. Derek did not trust patience. He went inside quietly and locked the door behind him. Rachel was still on the couch, still breathing. Good. He checked her pulse, thready but steady, and adjusted her blankets. Then he did a complete sweep of the house, checked every window, every door, every potential entry point. He pulled curtains closed and turned off lights except one lamp in the corner. Less visibility from outside. In the kitchen he made coffee, strong and black. He was going to need it. Then he sat in the armchair across from Rachel with his Glock in his lap and waited. At 5:43 a.m., Rachel's eyes fluttered open. She stared at the ceiling for a moment, disoriented, then turned her head slowly and saw Derek. "You're still here," she whispered. "Where else would I be?" Most people would have dumped me at a hospital and washed their hands of it. I'm not most people. Rachel tried to smile, but it turned into a wince of pain. I figured that out when you didn't leave me to die in an alley. She paused, her eye focusing on the gun in Derek's lap. Is that for me or for them? Them. Vincent Kane called. He knows you're here. Gave me until dawn to hand you over. The little color Rachel had drained from her face. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You have to give me to them. You have to. I'm not giving you to anyone. You can't fight Vincent Kane. He has an army. You're one person. One person with Marine training and nothing left to lose. Derek leaned forward, his eyes locked on hers. You saw him kill someone. An undercover cop. That means you're the only witness, the only evidence, which means you're the key to bringing him down. So no, I'm not handing you over. I'm going to protect you until we can get your testimony recorded and make sure Vincent Kane spends the rest of his life in a cell. That's insane! Probably, but it's happening. Rachel's eye filled with tears. Why? Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Derek was quiet for a moment. Then he said, 3 years ago, my wife died in a car accident. I wasn't there. I couldn't save her. And every day since I've been wondering if there was something I could have done differently. He met Rachel's gaze. I can't save Jennifer, but I can save you. And that has to count for something. Before Rachel could respond, Derek's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. Unknown number. He answered. Kane. Mr. Hale. The voice was smooth as silk. It's dawn. Time's up. What's your answer? Derek looked at Rachel, at her broken body and terrified eye, and the faint spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, someone was finally going to stand between her and the monsters. Go to hell, Derek said. Silence, then a low chuckle without humor. I was hoping you'd be reasonable. Very well. You've made your choice. Now live with the consequences. The line went dead. Derek stood and moved to the window. He pulled back the curtain just enough to see the street. 3 black SUVs were parked at the curb with engines running, exhaust puffing white in the cold dawn air. As Derek watched, doors opened and men stepped out. 6 of them, armed, moving with casual confidence. Vincent Kane himself emerged from the middle SUV, tall and lean, wearing an expensive coat, hands in pockets. He stood on the sidewalk and looked directly at Derek's house. Even from this distance, Derek could see him smile. Then Kane raised one hand and pointed at the house. The men started forward. Derek stepped back from the window and checked his Glock one more time. 15 rounds, 6 men plus Kane. The math was not in his favor, but he had faced worse odds in Fallujah. Rachel, he said quietly, not taking his eyes off the approaching figures. Stay down. Don't move unless I tell you. Understand? Derek, do you understand? Yes. Good. Derek moved away from the window and positioned himself behind the armchair, using it as cover. He had maybe 30 seconds before they breached. He could hear them now, boots crunching through snow, low, tactical whispers. They were surrounding the house, front and back. Professionals. The front door exploded inward with a crash of splintering wood. 2 men rushed in, guns raised, scanning for targets. Derek fired twice. Clean shots. Center mass. Both men went down. Shouts from outside. More footsteps. Derek dove behind the couch as bullets tore through the front window, glass exploding inward. Rachel screamed. Derek fired blind over the couch, 3 shots to keep them back, then rolled to new position. A man came through the back door. Derek was ready. 1 shot, the man dropped. 4 down. 2 left, plus Kane. But Derek's magazine was nearly empty. 3 rounds left. And the 2 remaining men were smart, not rushing in. They were waiting him out. Derek's mind raced. He could not stay here. They would eventually rush him, and 3 rounds would not be enough. He needed to move, needed to change the dynamic. "Derek Hale!" Vincent Kane's voice called from outside, smooth and mocking. "You're trapped. You know it. I know it. This doesn't have to end with you dead. Send out Rachel and you walk away. You have my word." "Your word means nothing." Derek shouted back. "Perhaps. But what choice do you have? You're out of bullets, out of options, out of time." Kane was right about one thing. Derek was almost out of bullets, but he was not out of options. "Rachel," Derek whispered. "Can you move at all?" "Not much. My leg." "I know. But we need to get to the back door. I'm going to carry you. When I say go, you hold on tight and don't let go no matter what, understand?" Rachel nodded, tears streaming down her face. Derek took a breath. Then he broke cover, firing his last 3 rounds at the window to force the men back. He scooped Rachel up and ran for the back door, her scream of pain tearing through him, but he did not stop. Out into the backyard, snow crunching under his boots. He could hear shouts behind him, men giving chase. Derek ran harder, cutting through his neighbor's yard, then another, heading for the tree line at the edge of the development. Shots rang out, bullets whipped past. Derek felt one tug at his jacket, but he kept running. Into the trees now, branches whipping at his face. Rachel sobbed against his chest. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit grew fainter. The trees were too dense for easy passage, and Derek knew these woods. He had jogged through them 100 times with Jennifer, back before. He ran for 10 minutes, his lungs burning, his arms screaming from Rachel's weight. Finally, he stopped behind a fallen log, gasping for air. Rachel was pale, her breathing shallow. The movement had reopened some of her wounds. Blood seeped through the bandages. "Hang on," Derek whispered. "Just hang on." He pulled out his phone. 1 bar of signal. He dialed 911. "911, what's your emergency?" "This is Derek Hale. I'm in the woods behind Maple Ridge Development. I have a witness to a murder committed by Vincent Kane. She's badly injured. We're being hunted. I need police and ambulance. Now." "Sir, can you repeat that? Vincent Kane?" "Yes. Kane and his men just attacked my house. They're trying to kill the witness. Send everyone. Send FBI if you have to. But send them now." Derek gave the dispatcher more details, his location, his phone number. Then he hung up and waited. Minutes crawled by. Derek kept his ears tuned for sounds of pursuit but heard nothing. Maybe they had given up. Maybe they thought he would bleed out in the woods and save them the trouble. Rachel's breathing was getting worse. Derek checked her pulse. Too fast, too weak. She was crashing. "Stay with me, Rachel. Help is coming. Stay with me." Her eye fluttered open. "Thank you," she whispered, "for not giving up on me." "I'm not giving up. You're going to make it." But Derek was not sure. And from the look in Rachel's eye, neither was she. Then he heard it. Sirens in the distance, getting closer. Derek pulled out his phone and waved it in the air, using the flashlight function to signal. The sirens grew louder. Shouts, beams of light cutting through the trees. "Over here!" Derek yelled. "We're over here!" Figures appeared through the trees. Police. Paramedics. Derek had never been so happy to see uniforms in his life. A paramedic rushed to Rachel. "Ma'am, can you hear me? We're going to take care of you." Another paramedic checked Derek. "Sir, are you injured?" "I'm fine. Help her." She needs help." They loaded Rachel onto a stretcher and started back toward the ambulances. Derek followed, his legs shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. A police officer stopped him. "Mr. Hale, I'm Officer Daniels. We need to ask you some questions. Vincent Kane. He attacked my house. His men. They're probably still there. You need to—" "We have units at your address now. They found 4 bodies. No sign of Kane or anyone else." 4 bodies. Derek had killed 4 men tonight. The reality of it hit him like a truck. He had taken lives. Again. Just like in the war. He thought he was done with that. "Mr. Hale?" Officer Daniels' voice was gentle. "Are you all right?" "No," Derek said honestly. "But I will be." They took him to the hospital, where doctors checked him over and found he was miraculously uninjured beyond some cuts and bruises. Rachel was in surgery. The doctors said she would survive, but it would be a long recovery. Derek sat in the waiting room and called Patricia Patterson. She put Chloe on the phone. "Daddy?" Chloe's voice was small and scared. "Are you okay?" "I'm okay, baby. Everything's okay. Bad guys are gone. The lady is safe. I'll come get you tomorrow." "You promise?" "I promise." After he hung up, Derek sat alone in the waiting room and let himself feel it all. The fear, the adrenaline crash, the weight of what he had done. 4 men dead, because of him, because he chose to stand up, to fight. But Rachel was alive, Chloe was safe, and Vincent Kane would be brought to justice. Hours later, an FBI agent arrived. Sarah Connors, mid-40s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense demeanor. She sat across from Derek. "Mr. Hale, I'm Agent Connors. I understand you've had quite a night." "That's one way to put it." Rachel Winters woke up briefly. She confirmed your story. Vincent Kane murdered Detective James Park, one of our undercover agents. She's the only witness. You saved her life. Multiple times, apparently. "I did what anyone would do." "No." Agent Connors shook her head. "Most people would have walked away. You didn't. That takes something special." She paused. "We've been after Kane for years. With Rachel's testimony, we can finally put him away. We'll need you to testify as well. Whatever you need. Kane's still out there. We have people looking, but he's slippery. Until we find him, you and your daughter will need protection." "How long?" "Hard to say. Could be days. Could be weeks." Derek nodded. More disruption, more fear. But they would get through it. They had to. "There's something else," Agent Connors said. "The 4 men you killed. It was clean self-defense. You won't face charges. But I imagine it doesn't feel clean." Derek met her eyes. "No, it doesn't. I can arrange for counseling. PTSD specialists, for you and your daughter. She's been through trauma too." "Thank you. We'll need that." Agent Connors stood. "Get some rest, Mr. Hale. We'll have officers outside your room. You're safe now." But Derek was not sure he would ever feel truly safe again. 2 days later, Derek was released from the hospital. Patricia brought Chloe down from the mountains, and they had a tearful reunion in the hospital parking lot. Chloe clung to him and would not let go. "I was so scared, Daddy. I thought you were gone like Mommy." "I'm here, baby. I'm not going anywhere." They went to a safe house the FBI arranged, a small apartment across town with guards outside. It was temporary until they caught Kane. Derek tried to make it feel normal for Chloe, but she was clingy, afraid to let him out of her sight. He understood. He felt the same way about her. Rachel was transferred to a secure hospital room. Derek visited her when he could. She was healing slowly, the doctors optimistic about her recovery. She would walk again eventually, though it would take months of physical therapy. "I keep thinking about that night," Rachel said during one visit. "If you hadn't found me, if you had walked away, I'd be dead, frozen in that alley. No one would have known what happened to me. But I did find you, and I didn't walk away." "Why? Really, why? You risked everything for a complete stranger." Derek thought about it. "Because 3 years ago I froze when I should have acted. I let my wife walk out that door angry and I didn't stop her. And she died. I've been living with that regret ever since." He met Rachel's eyes. "When I found you, I had a choice. Freeze or act. I chose to act. And maybe that doesn't erase what happened with Jennifer. But it means something. It has to." Rachel reached out and took his hand. "It means everything. To me, it means everything." 1 week later, the FBI found Vincent Kane. He had fled to Mexico, but made the mistake of trying to access one of his bank accounts. They grabbed him at the border and extradited him back to face charges. With Rachel's testimony and the evidence they had gathered, the case was airtight. Kane was looking at life in prison without parole. Derek and Chloe were able to go home. The house had been repaired, the bullet holes patched, the blood cleaned, but it did not feel the same. Too many ghosts. Derek put the house on the market. They needed a fresh start, somewhere without memories of violence and fear. Chloe agreed. She had nightmares now, waking up screaming that bad men were coming. Derek held her until she fell back asleep. They both started therapy. It helped, slowly. Derek learned to process the guilt about Jennifer, to understand that he was not responsible for a drunk driver's choices. Chloe learned coping mechanisms for her anxiety. It was a long road, but they were walking it together. Rachel recovered enough to leave the hospital. She had no family in Riverside, so Derek helped her find an apartment, helped her get set up. She started her new job as a victim advocate for the FBI, using her experience to help other survivors. She and Derek became friends. Not romantic, just two people bonded by trauma and survival. Rachel was good with Chloe, patient and kind. Chloe started calling her Aunt Rachel. 6 months after that terrible night, Derek's house sold. He bought a small place in a quiet neighborhood on the other side of town. Fresh start. New memories to make. On moving day, Rachel came over to help. She was walking with a cane now, her leg still healing but getting stronger. Chloe showed her the new house excitedly, talking about her new room and the big backyard. Derek and Rachel stood in the empty living room of the old house, boxes stacked around them. "You doing okay?" Rachel asked. "Yeah, better. You?" "Better. I start physical therapy without the cane next month. Doctor says I'll be running by Christmas." "That's great." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Rachel said, "I never properly thanked you for saving my life, for fighting when you could have run, for being the kind of man who does the right thing no matter the cost." "You don't have to thank me." "Yes, I do. You gave me a second chance, Derek. A chance to live, to heal, to help others. I won't waste it." Derek smiled. "I know you won't." They loaded the last boxes into Derek's truck. Chloe climbed into the passenger seat, clutching her rabbit. Rachel waved goodbye from the driveway as they pulled away. Derek drove to their new house, Chloe chattering happily beside him about all the things they would do in their new home. Derek listened and smiled and felt something he had not felt in 3 years. Peace. That night, after Chloe was asleep in her new room, Derek sat on the porch of their new house and looked up at the stars. He thought about Jennifer, about the choices he had made, about the path that had led him here. He could not change the past, could not bring Jennifer back, could not undo the mistakes or the regrets. But he could move forward, could be the father Chloe needed, could be the man Jennifer had always believed he was. He had saved Rachel, and in doing so, he had saved himself. Derek Hale was no longer sleepwalking through life. He was awake, he was present, he was alive. And that, finally, was enough.